since I consider myself part of the family anyway. I should be. I've been living long enough.
Qualified.
Okay, this is it. I wrote this in a hurry. A few words about my friends, Annie and Murray. There was Ma Jurgen, who needed insulin in her arm. There was Jennifer Goldie with little Anita, full of charm. Remember Anita? Edith, who worked her way through McGill, and Morty so stubborn you wanted to kill. Annie, the youngest, took the hardest pill. Annie and I go back a long way. Many a time in my house on Jean Manse she had to stay. When having money was a dream, and for Annie and Ma a room to live in, a constant scheme. We rented a shack in Val David. I invited Annie, my pal. In return, I'd stay with Annie and Ma when they were in Flash Laval. It was cold and damp in that shack, so we hopped in with Ma in one bed. One of my fondest memories is of canned salmon and mayonnaise and white Western bread. No one made it like Anne. She used can after can after can. We needed to make some extra cash, so to Louis' Diner we made a dash. We worked as waitresses, but after one night, somehow all this didn't feel right. I looked at Annie with a discouraged glance. We walked out on Louis and off to the cozy corner to dance. This is all true, by the way. We were then in our teens. An orange convertible with leopard seats was one of our dreams. My mother made us nylon blouses while we camped out in each other's houses. Ponytails, felt skirts with starched up crinolines, petty loafers, bobby socks, and jeans like Marilyn's. Pale pink lipstick and poodle cuts were then the latest mode. Baby blue sweaters and pedal pushers were then the dressing code. Annie lived on Laurier near Esplanade. We would walk up and down Park Avenue like a fashion brigade. We'd meet girlfriends and boyfriends, we'd stop and talk. We'd make plans for the future, then continue our walk. See how hard I work? There was the Wire Mount Royal Dunn's Deli next door. We'd eat bread and canastles till our tummies were sore. There were hot dogs and fries and smoked meat and rye, banana splits and sundaes, and lots of cute guys. Love did not pass us by. I had an Alec, Ronnie Shapiro was Annie's guy. Even though we weren't ready, the boys talked us into going steady. There was so much to say then, so much to do. We would talk on the phone till our tongues would turn blue. Alexander's Business College taught us typing and added knowledge. We'd have to be in class real early. Also attending were Dolly and Shirley. Having learned our secretarial duties, we went looking for jobs, these four little cuties. I found a job at Graphic Arts for $25 per week, now to get Annie on a working streak. Woke her one morning and said, "There's a job advertised in the Star. You may be interested." From business college raw, she became a secretary for the law. Weekends and dating were always a treat. There was the Chez Paris, the Top Hat, Seville, and Downbeat. There were parties and dances, broken hearts, and new romances. Then Annie McMurray was love at first sight. They started dating almost every night. Now the planning started. Anne and Murray so lighthearted, so in love those two, about the real world they hadn't a clue. The wedding, I remember, was on a snowy day in November. Lots of fun and elation. It was a wonderful celebration. First came love, then came marriage, then came Annie with a baby carriage. Shelley was born, a bundle of joy. Before you know, came a baby boy. Life in capsule here. Annie bill. Helping and rescuing people filled the bill. He'd be in the basement day and night in case he was needed for a human fight. There were many struggles through the years, losing Goldie, pain and tears. Ma was ailing, her health was failing, soon she too was gone. Hard times for Annie and Murray. They had to grow up in a hurry. Raise the children, pay rent and eat. Murray had a clock to beat. They opened a store to help them cope. Murray was almost at the end of his rope. Just when all seemed like gloom and doom, a ray of sunshine filled the room. A new idea in Murray's head grew. Onward he went, his dream to pursue. His newest dream would set the stage. The rest is history. He called it Scott Page. This handheld device with his Colin Beck, that's when Murray teamed up with Neck. Changes were happening so fast, Annie was praying that all this would last. A bigger home, a yacht, a car, Murray Epstein, a sudden star. You read about him in Who's Who. The Epsteins are famous, but still true blue. Though Murray's achievements are on a scale very global, he's still the same guy, unaffected and noble. Although Adam Murray holds court in the presidential suite, don't be surprised to find Anne on the floor with bare feet. Add an applause for Michelle, the MD, who looks like an actress playing doctor on TV. And of course, Harry, our in-house genius, handsome and charming and a great pianist.
I already read it.
Okay. Some of us flew, some drove, walked, or ran. We came from all over, even Japan. It's almost like the United Nations. We're all here for Anne and Murray's celebration. Most of the time now, Anne and Murray are afloat. They are either in the air on a plane or in their boat. They travel the world over, always on the go. Still, I